There we go.
Okay, we are in progress.
Yeah. So I think we'll wait a couple minutes and then see. It's just people introduce each other, like what our interest is in photography, what our background is in photography, and maybe what our goals are and things like that.
Yeah.
Or anything else you want to talk about, photographic wise. And we got a 40-minute time limit
So,
with this particular, because this is my free Zoom account. Now, if this works out, I'm going to go ahead and pay the $13 a month to have unlimited access, and
yeah.
also allows for other options as well.
Yeah. It can be, you can do it longer than as well. Yeah.
Yes. And I'm a member of the Bloomington Photography Club here in Bloomington, Indiana, and we do a lot of Zoom meetings, and it works out pretty well.
Hmm.
Now, when the pandemic hit, I'm retired now, but I worked for a big company, and we had a lot of we didn't really do Zoom. We did other uh, web hosting and video conferencing apps. And I thought once the pandemic hit, that whole system's just going to crash because everybody's going to be using it all the time. But it worked out pretty well.
Yeah. Yeah, I am a member of a photographic club as well. And from this is a website. Uh, and in this website, we talk to each others with maybe 7, 8 people every 14 days about
Yeah.
photography. Everybody send in four pictures. We made an appointment, 4 pictures. With 4 pictures, you can talk, let's say 2, 3 hours. And then we go from one photo, from the first one to the second person, the first photo. And then we go back when we have had everybody and then do the second photo. And then, well, it's very friendly and you always learn something because everybody looks different.
Yeah. It's always good to put a face on the names and things and
Yeah,
voice.
yeah,
Looks like somebody else is trying to come in.
yeah. I see something, somebody. But you have blurred your background, yeah, I see.
Yeah, I just actually, I with the pandemic, my office where I worked,
Yeah,
they said go home, work from home. So I was working on the dining room table
yeah,
and,
yeah.
for until just a couple of weeks ago. And this is my wife's closet. And we're going to clear out. It's not really a closet; it's a guest bedroom that she uses as a closet. And we're going to clear out all this clothing behind me and make this my official desk now. So I'm no longer going to have to work on the dining room table because I've got like three big monitors here,
Yeah.
and that dining room table would just eat up the whole thing. Well, if
No,
we get at least one more person, I think I'll start out with me, and then we'll move on to you about what you want to say about photography. But that Gant, Gandt,
I
was,
don't know who that is.
and we're into 5 minutes right now, and we're recording it, so if somebody misses it. So I guess I'll just go ahead and talk about myself. I'm 72 years old. I retired a little over a year ago from Otis Elevator Company. If you ever go up in Otis Elevators, that's I worked there for almost 20 years. So,
Okay.
um, and previous to that, I mean, way back from in the 1970s to the early 90s, I shot wedding photography, small town photography jobs, portraitures, 4-H fairs, things like that. And I shot over 300 weddings. Of course, it was all done with film. I did my own darkroom work, so I have an extensive background with darkroom and film. I frequently tell people that film is kind of like an ex-wife, where I really learned a lot with film, but I would never want to go back. So digital is really the way to go for me, and it's a great learning tool, but you don't really need to have film to learn photography. Um, and what I do now, of course, is digital, and as you probably see some of my photographs, I'm kind of a technician too. So um, I like to make sure things are precise, but I still want to have the artistic side of things. I'm not opposed to trying to break the rules of stuff, but when things are just too far gone, quality wise and things like that, I just think sometimes you have to draw the line somewhere. Um, And it's not like I have zero tolerance for errors. I frequently will give people keeper votes, even though I think they could definitely improve the photos, but some are just way too far gone.
Mhm.
Uh, so what about you?
Well, I photograph all my life with ups and downs, but I'm 70 years old and I was a controller in finance, but now I'm retired and uh, I photograph mostly in the streets. um, I go to mostly the places where the people are. So, but not always. But I'm searching for stations and for uh, yeah, for places where a lot of people are mostly.
Yeah, makes
And,
sense.
yeah, sometimes I wait and sometimes I go after them. But
Yeah.
mostly, waiting is more of my thing than go after them. There are other people. They say you have to. When you see something, you go after the people and you see what's happening. But I'm not a kind of person like that. So sometimes I see something that's very interesting and I go after them, but mostly not. Sometimes I start with at my desk thinking of what I'm going to do, and sometimes I go to a place and see what's happening. So I uh, sometimes one is better than the other, and sometimes you have the feeling that uh, you go better when you do this thing or you do that thing. That's well, and I'm now at Flickr, I think for 3 or 4 years at the weekly group. When I started with street photography, therefore I made photos of landscapes. I did, as you, I did in the dark room a lot of things as well. Uh, no, I'm not a wedding photographer or a people photographer, more, yeah, more behind. I don't like when people are smiling in the camera. That's not my thing.
Yeah.
What you want to know more?
Yeah,
Uh,
well, I would say when you mentioned about you're not a wedding photographer, and even though I did, well, I started out with my own darkroom, a color darkroom, and I was very enthusiastic about shooting artistic photographs, whatever I could really do, you know. And the next thing I knew, I volunteered for a wedding, and I started making money from it. But then also, all that's all I would do was do weddings and portraiture and things like that. And I think I was pretty good at it, but that's not what I wanted to do. I was eating up all my time with that kind of photography. Like you say, you don't want to take pictures of people smiling. Me neither. The next thing I know, it all happened. And
yeah, it's difficult to make a good portrait, but when you do it all day, it's not nice anymore.
no, especially you're doing art for other people. You don't
Yeah,
do your own. You don't get your own artwork done.
it's like you are more a machine than it. And,
Oh yeah,
you do your thing, and then you make money, but you artistically you're not. No, you're not getting money for it.
yeah. I
My
got
English is not so good, but I try to come on the words.
yeah. I mean, I got a lot of good practice. I mean, it's I guess I like to think of it like as if you're playing a musical instrument. The more practice you get, that's very important to practice. So every almost every day I was going out and taking pictures of people. So yeah, that was a good habit to get into, but you can do that on your own. You know, you just get in the habit of it. And if that's part of what you love to do, you probably will do it. I mean, I tend to not like the cold weather, so I don't get out a lot to photograph, but I take so many photos through the warmer months. I end up with a lot of photos I need to do post processing with. So that give allows me to practice with Photoshop and things more. So
Yeah.
kind of really dig in.
Some people say that you learn more of a wrong photo than of a good photo. Huh? But you
Yes,
need when it's wrong, then you can remake it. But now not every photo you can remake, but you learn a lot of it.
yes. And I find myself I can learn more about when I'm trying to describe when I type stuff into a comment about somebody's photograph. I learn more than I do than what I think I'm actually trying to tell them. I just my idea of analyzing it allows me to sharpen my skill with it. That doesn't mean what I'm saying is going to be 100% right, but I think it helps me to see better.
Yeah, that's true. Yeah, I give a lot of comments in a. I'm a moderator of a Dutch website as well, named Fotodroom.nl, and there the quality is quite high, but every day people are putting photos there, and we give it's a website about comments. So like the group in Flickr. It's yeah, they expect comments and sometimes a bit negative as well. But from negative, you learn a lot. Huh? Negativity you
Oh yeah.
give you support.
Yeah, when you're doing with your wife and your family and neighbors and stuff like that, they think your stuff is great. This is fantastic. You ought to be in the museum. But you need to have it out
Yeah,
other people and get other opinions because otherwise
yeah,
you don't really learn.
yeah. Yeah, we have some people that photograph animals, and they are very technical. So when there is a little moisture or a little technical thing in the picture, they're going to make it big, and they say, "Well, this is not right. You have to do next time. You have to do different." And then uh, all the bird photographers are talking with the bird photographers.
Yeah, all bird photographer, birders, and people that shoot animals like elk and deer and whatever else. Yeah, that stuff is they could go way out there. I don't have enough patience to do that.
For me, it's not as well.
Yeah. It's like fishing, you have to wait until you get the right moment. I like to go out and kind of find things that are there.
Yeah.
Now, with your street photography you're talking about, because that's one thing I like to dabble with everything I can get my hands on, except I don't ever want to go back to weddings. But I do want to do more street photography, but I find myself to be too shy.
Yeah, yeah.
Well, I think with some of the best street photographers, they're shooting like short lenses, like 24 millimeters, and they're getting right in the middle of the works. And I don't know if I could do that.
Yeah. Now, everybody can do it, but as you say, you have to go over it, and you can go over it when you do it. So you have to find a way. First, maybe from the back, and then from the side, and first in a place where a lot of people are. Then you feel more comfortable with it. Then when you go in front of people and they recognize you in the beginning, then you get more anxious.
Yeah. Yeah, I think what you're talking about, you get confidence. You get some confidence eventually
Yeah.
if you feel sure about yourself. Um, and I would like to do that a lot more. Now, I live in kind of a small town. It's a big college town, actually, where Indiana University is, but we're close to Indianapolis. And I frequently go to big cities, like I was just in Paris back in October. And I'm going to be somewhere in Spain next month. I'm not sure, not next year. No, at the end of this year, I should say. But and yeah, I go to big cities and want to try to do street photography, and I usually end up shooting at 120 millimeters or so. So that's not. I mean, you can do that, but
It is, you can sit at the table and think, what are I'm going to photograph? You can, for example, you can think of you go with the I have done photos with a zebra. Then you go for people with black and white clothes, and you go for the stripes.
yeah,
You just stand there next to the traffic light and wait till they are coming. Sometimes you have to wait a long time, but they are coming.
yeah. That's it's with the practice, and I think just like everything else, the more you practice, the better you get. So,
Yeah.
and you get luckier too. And now I like to take a lot of photos. your chances will increase if you take a lot of photos.
Yeah.
So you just get luckier with that too, combined
Uh,
with
I have mostly one or two at 100. So if you're lucky when you have 500 photos with 4 or 5 good ones.
yeah. When I was in Paris, I was in the Paris metro, and almost every day I had to go on the metro. So I would set my camera, just hold it in front of me, and just rapid fire. My camera can do 20 frames a second, and just let it rip. I ended up, with 3,500 shots. Only find, maybe I didn't even find one that was worth a darn, but the ones that do are worth the effort because otherwise you're going to sit there and do nothing. I thought I did get a couple of interesting shots, but
No, it's a good starting point. Yeah.
yes,
Now in the street, I mostly take 3 or 4. Oh, somebody's coming now. Kent.
and what kind of camera do you use?
Z7 II. Nikon.
Yeah, so because I got a Z9 Z9, and
Okay.
it's kind of a big. I mean, that's a big honking thing to pick up and point at people.
Yeah, it's a little big, huh?
Yeah,
Yeah.
so
That's a good
yeah,
camera. And it's more expensive than a Z7.
yeah. I went from that I had D850 before,
Okay.
and I was anxious to get into the mirrorless situation. I'm very pleased with mirrorless cameras.
Yeah.
One thing I
Okay.
like about the mirrorless cameras is if you do time exposures, like if you use a neutral density filter, for example, on a DSLR, you can't see through the viewfinder. You have to wait until you take the picture and then you can see what the results are on the LCD. With the mirrorless, even if it's really dark, you can see what's going on immediately.
Yeah. Yeah, that's a good advantage. Yeah. I've seen as well that the colors, the automatic colors in the camera are more precise as well as in the DSLR compared the to the bigger ones.
Yeah. Now, I do a lot of macro photography, and I had the Nikkor 105 millimeter that was designed for a DSLR. I traded it in for the Z version, the mirrorless version, and it is twice as sharp.
Mhm.
Same lens, and I'm not sure why that is, but the sharpness is incredible compared to the same version, but it's the mirrorless version.
Yeah. Uh, mostly the chips are more big as well, huh?
Yeah.
And that helps a lot.
Yep.
Gent is not coming in, I think.
What's that?
Gent,
Oh, here
the
it comes.
most,
Yeah, there he is. We'll see who that is. He's muted.
I think he has problems with connecting because the underside is red.
Yeah, he's muted.
Yeah.
Now you live in the Netherlands. Where in the Netherlands do you live?
Near the sea, near maybe 20 kilometers above Amsterdam.
I was in Amsterdam a few years ago,
Yeah.
and then also went to I can't pronounce it right. Uh, Groningen, up north of Amsterdam. It's got a university there, and oh,
Mhm.
it's a beautiful city. And the people, they're super friendly. It's crazy how friendly they are.
Mhm.
If you even act halfway like you're lost, they're coming up. Hell, where are you? What's going on? Let me give you a hand.
I'm in a village where they have the how you say that they have a park with tulips. I don't know if you've been there when you were in the Netherlands, but in
Yeah.
April, full of tulips. They call it the Keukenhof.
Yes, we went there.
Okay, now
Yes.
this is where I live.
Oh wow. Yeah, we showed up there 2 weeks after the peak time. But still beautiful though. And we got
Hello. Gent,
Oh,
how you call your name?
There we go. I figured out the buttons.
yeah.
Now, Glenn from Nova Scotia in the middle of a snowstorm.
Oh, good. Yeah. So we're recording this right now. So Jan and I have already kind of introduced ourselves. So what I'd like you to do right now is you tell me about yourself, like what your history is with photography or whatever you
Oh,
want.
okay. Okay. No, I'm 62 years old, been retired 5 years. When I graduated high school, I took photography at vocational school, but ended up going into retail. So now that I'm retired, I'm starting to get back in with just to kill some time and learn some new techniques. And I've been really enjoying Flickr. So
Yeah. The one thing I like about Flickr, I've been on other sites like YouPick, for instance. I was on YouPick for a while, and nobody ever, and I don't know if it was because they were just nobody was wanting to participate, but nobody wanted to pick up any discussions. They would just say great photo or something like that that would ever say. People on Flickr, they have opinions, they're real people.
mm,
So my understanding is that Flickr is sort of making a comeback because it dropped popularity. I think Instagram was picking up the gap. But the quality of, I mean, the upload quality of Flickr images is great compared to Instagram or Facebook or something like that.
mm. Yeah, I don't bother with Facebook or Instagram
Yeah.
whatsoever. No, I'm just trying to learn. I watch some YouTube videos and get a new idea and go out and explore with it. And, you know,
Oh yeah, YouTube videos are great. Yeah.
yeah.
Now, see, so are those some of your photos in the background?
Up on the wall, just some old vacation photos. Yeah, with me and my grandkids.
Yeah.
What kind of photos do you make?
What do I like? I just went out and got rid of my old Panasonic and bought a Nikon Z50 because retired and I didn't. I'm always seeming to try to get closer to something rather than doing landscape. So I'm more interested in capturing a scene of something that somebody hasn't is not familiar of looking at it in that from that direction or that thing. So I find landscapes kind of boring. I don't know why.
And now you make what kind of photos you make now?
What's that?
What kind of photos you make now?
What kind of
Landscape?
photos?
Yeah.
I abstracts, and I've been doing some long exposures. I'm trying anything and anything just from what I've been watching on the internet, just to get a better all idea of what I can explore. So, if you have a look at my gallery, there'll be every different type of photograph possible. I think.
Yeah, no,
And your name in the Flickr is Gent as well?
What's that?
Your name in Flickr is Gent as well?
It's it's GANDT. Yeah, it stands for Glenn and Teresa, my wife. So
Okay.
yeah, I'll bet
I've
I've seen.
done this kind of photography, you say as well. Last half year, or maybe no, let's say the 2024, the first half year, I have done only movement photos.
only movement. Yeah,
I set my camera on maybe an eighth of a second and I make photos. And then, well, it's mostly nothing, but sometimes you have something.
yeah, yeah. But I've been trying some ICMs as well, and they say I'll take 30 or 40 of them, and I might find one that I go, okay, maybe I'll post that one. Eh?
And that's the starting point for the new photographs. Huh?
Yeah, yeah,
Yeah, I found moving train photos from inside a moving train is a great way to do ICM.
yeah.
I was just in Paris, France in October, and I would be in the Paris metro between places I wanted to go to. So I just held my camera up like this and just held down the shutter and
Mm.
let it rip through the window. I already told this to Jan. But yeah, I mean, maybe I get 3,500 shots at 20 frames a second. Maybe none of them are any good, but the ones that are well worth sitting there and doing that instead of just scrolling through the internet or something on your phone.
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
And when you have a quiet background, it's more easy. So I've done it on the beach with dogs, and then when the background is the same, it's more easy to make the photos.
Yeah. I find when you have any high source of light in an ICM, it seems to blow it out
Yeah, you need it.
miserably. So
Yeah. Light is not good for the ICM.
no, no, no.
If you get the sun coming through a tree and take the camera and rotate it like that, you get these kind of interesting high, streaks.
Yeah.
And something I've always wanted to try, somebody talked to me about this is a few years ago, is to take your camera, put it on a 2-second delay, and set it for like a half a second, and trip the shutter in about 1 second, throw the camera into the air,
Okay.
and then catch it. Now I've got a broken camera, an old Nikon. I'm wanting to try to do that with just to see what happens, but
Yeah.
I think that's an intriguing idea.
That is, and I've never tried the zoom technique through an exposure as well. I've seen some photographs like that that are fairly interesting. Eh?
Yeah, I've tried that, but I haven't had any luck with that so far.
Yeah.
Yeah, I can see the snow coming out of and down your window.
Oh, can you?
Yeah.
Where are you from?
Nova Scotia, Canada.
Canada. Okay.
Yeah, right on the east coast.
East Coast. Yeah.
Yeah, I just recently retired from Otis Elevators, and I used to deal a lot with people in Nova Scotia, the sales offices in Nova Scotia.
Okay.
And oh gosh, what's just above Nova Scotia? There's a
New Brunswick?
now the lady was talking about it was really nice. The weather was unseasonably warm. It was like in March or something like that. But then the iceberg showed up in the bay.
Oh,
Everything got cold again.
you're looking at Newfoundland or Labrador or something.
Yeah, I think it was in Newfoundland. Yeah.
Yeah. So what do you do when you have 70 or 80 or 100,000 photos? They're all in storage. Who's going to look at them? Like, what's the legacy of them?
Well, that's a good question. Like if you're long dead and your grandkids have it, are they still going to have it?
Are they going to bother to look at it?
Yeah. The older the photos get, the more valuable. I mean, you can go out and take a picture in your town of a supermarket, just as simple, bland as you can get. But the older it gets, the more valuable it gets, because you get a picture of the supermarket that's 20 years old, that's no longer there or something. People are going to be interested in that. Now we are starting to run out of time on the Zoom. I've got 9 minutes and 40 seconds left. So, and I was telling Jen earlier that I'm going, if this works out, I'm going to go ahead and spring for the $13 a month and get the one you can have unlimited time.
Gotcha. Yeah.
So, and also one of my goals was when I was talking about the Jan is so we can talk about the photographs, specific photographs in the weekly. Now, maybe that's not a great idea to do it. It might be too overwhelming to try to do it. That's one of my goals. So if anybody else has any goals, maybe a best, I think what we're doing right now works out pretty well. But we can get more.
Then you need to show the photographs, I think, in this meeting.
Yeah.
So you need to make or you have to go from with the Zoom to the group and then show it, and then you can talk about it. Maybe
Yes.
the portraits can go aside and the photo can go in the middle, or I don't know.
Yeah. Yeah, I think you're absolutely right. I think we could even go so far as to say, this is how I process this, and go up and say, this is how I did this or that in Photoshop or whatever, And of course, everybody's not going to be using Photoshop. So I use Photoshop. How about you two guys?
I use now Affinity. I have stopped my Photoshop, and well, I'm quite. It was in the beginning was difficult, but now after 2 months, I can mostly do everything what I did with Photoshop. I can do with Bridge together with Affinity. Bridge is a Photoshop,
Yeah.
uh, a free program of Adobe,
Adobe.
and
Yeah.
I have bought Affinity for about 40 bucks, I think, because it was an action.
Yeah. I use
So
Bridge extensively.
yeah, and it can. The only thing what you cannot do with Affinity is the AI. AI is not possible with Affinity.
Now
But
you can layer in Affinity. Is that right?
yes, the Neff you can make a raw photos. You can actually you can do everything, but AI is not possible. So you have to manage with cloning and things like that with your hands.
Yeah.
But
I'm
it's
not,
not.
I'm not doing any post-processing at all. Not that I have an issue with it. It's just it doesn't speak to me at this time, so I'm just enjoying the photography itself. Yeah.
Did you do anything at all, like did like to darken it or lighten it or anything like that? Increase contrast?
I might use just an editing tool if I end up having a garbage bag in the corner of something, and
Yeah.
I want to I want to crop that out. But that's about the extent of what I've done with the.
In a way, it's not bad because you learn how to make photos.
Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah,
Oh yeah.
yeah,
Well, the only true what they call straight out of the camera process is using transparency film, slide film,
yeah.
because either you get it or you don't.
Yeah,
The slide film.
there's no such thing as straight out of the camera.
Yeah.
Really,
Unless it's slide film.
unless it's fly.
Yeah, then you just otherwise you just throw them in the trash as you go through them. Boom, boom.
Yeah, yeah.
But you started to mention, oh yeah, you're talking about how to the legacy of your images. I would say the number one thing you need to make sure you do is at least get them categorized to the point where you can title it. Make sure they're all make common sense titles and things like that. That'll make it easier for people to find rather than just looking for DSC 00001 or something like that.
Yeah.
The backyard or Nova Scotia or New York City or something like that. People can find your stuff easier like that.
Yeah.
And on top of that, back your stuff up.
Onto a portable hard drive.
Yeah, because if you don't, you'll find out you really need to do that eventually. You'll learn the hard way.
Yeah.
I have learned the hard way
Yeah.
more than once. So we got 5 minutes left.
And if you have 100,000 pictures, then you can maybe throw away something as well because I mostly make 500 pictures when I go out, and then actually there are maybe 10 or 20 good. So when you learn yourself to throw away 480, then you don't have too much pictures.
Yeah.
And that's not a bad exercise just to go through it, especially in the winter months when maybe you can't get out much, and that's a good time to do that.
Yeah.
I do that. I'll go. I have several folders where I'll take photos of bees, and 99% of the pictures I take are not any good. But I have to go through each and every one and be careful they don't automatically delete the wrong one because there will be one suddenly there that's good. But I don't need to have all those photos, so I could leave them there and just eat up the hard drive space. But I'd like to make a concise collection for whoever's going to look at my stuff afterwards.
There are people that they make throwaway discs, and discs that are good, huh? So, or they throw away for the moment, but then maybe a year later or 2 years later they go through it another time, and then they throw away it for definitely. So sometimes you have to go through the process as well.
Are you selling any of your work?
Sorry?
Do you sell any of your images?
No, I don't sell.
No.
I mentioned earlier to Jan before you came on, I shot over 300 weddings from the 70s to the early 90s.
Yeah.
So I was kind of, and it was I mean, yeah, you can sell stuff, but once you start going down that road, that's a whole nother ballgame.
Yeah.
Especially if you're going to, I mean, somebody will sell, oh, well, I had somebody had bought one for $300 of mine. That's the only photo I've sold since then.
Yeah.
And I'm not really going to go out and beat the bushes to try to sell the stuff. I want to try to learn my craft. I'm 72 years old and I just want to try to master my craft.
Gotcha.
If I can sell stuff, that's fine.
Yeah. So you don't have any of your work on Getty Images or on a website?
I do on Flickr. I've got, actually, I need to update my Adobe portfolio. And I want to set up another regular website, but no, I don't.
Gotcha.
Actually, I have a website where I put some pictures on it and a connection with Flickr.
Mhm.
And on Flickr, I only have 60 photos. And every time I put 2 photos on it, I take 2 off.
Gotcha.
So my best photos are on Flickr.
And then there's Flick River as well. What's that about?
Yeah, it's something to do with if you are in Explore or not.
Oh, okay.
So you can, if the machine finds you and you have a good photo, then they put you in Explore. That's a
Yeah.
group.
Yeah.
And then you get a lot of faves when the people can find you then because you are in a promoted group.
Gotcha. Okay.
Yeah, but just
Well,
trying to
then-
maintain your website's a lot of work all by itself too.
Yeah.
Well, we're down to 1 minute and 20 seconds. So, and like I said, I've recorded this, assuming the recording is going to take. And I would definitely want to do this again. Hopefully, get some more people involved. I think if it gets too many people, it's not going to be worth much. It's not going to be worth much like that. So, what do you guys think?
It'd be wonderful if we can get the participation up. Yeah.
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 Well, I'm probably going to spring for that. I got less than a minute, so I think we probably ought to bug out right now. It was great to see both of you and
Very
get a
good.
peek on the names and stuff.
Yeah.
So,
All right.
Thank you very much for having this initiative.
yeah.
Yep. Thanks, everybody. I gotta go shovel what you see coming down.
Yeah, you better get work done out there.
All right, guys.
Good night,
See you
everybody.
later.
Bye-bye.
Bye-bye.